want to go over a little bit some of the payments or gifts that you gave to Katherine Magbanua. We've heard a lot about her being put on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, and she made this demand to you when you met her to give her the first extortion payment on the payment plan. Is that correct?
She didn't make a demand. When I gave her the $3,000 for her friend, she asked me if I could do her a favor and put her on payroll for $1,000 a month so that she could get insurance for her kids. She was going to cash the check, and the money was still going to her friend, so that money wasn't going to her. She was getting insurance for her kids.
And did you believe her that she would give the money from the paychecks to the friend?
I believe what she was saying to me, yeah.
Isn't it true that Katherine Magbanua actually asked you to place her on the payroll back in June, prior to this extortion effort?
I don't know if I put her on payroll. She asked me if I could put her as something when I was dating her, put her as something on the office so she could get insurance. But I never did.
And that was in June.
Yeah, I remember she'd asked me about it before, but I never did anything.
In June 24th of 2014, she says, "Baby, I'm going to need help on the employment info. I have to send to DCF for my kids' insurance. Also, if I have to end up moving later on, I need to show I'm working for you, or else I won't be able to get an apartment." To which you respond, "No problem." Remember that?
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking she was asking about payroll. I think she was asking just to say that she worked there, is that we'd sign a letter saying that she was employed. But that doesn't say anything about writing checks to her.
And that request was made in between the two trips that the killers made.
That
correct?
request, well, she asked me if I could do that for her while I was dating her, and I never even did it.
And did she ask if you could do that in between the two trips that the killers made?
I didn't know when they went up, but I found out later that they went up in June.
All right, so that email would have been sent, or I'm sorry, it's a text. That text would have been sent prior to what you're calling is the first layer of the extortion.
That text was sent to me while I was dating her, but I never.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
The text was sent in June.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
Before I was extorted, yeah. Before I broke up with her.
And you say several times on the wire that she was cleaning at the office. Was she really cleaning?
No, she never worked for us.
She was doing some type of cleanup for you, wasn't she?
No.
What's the purpose of keeping Katie happy? Was she gonna sick the Latin Kings on you if you made her unhappy?
She was protecting me. I didn't know what would happen, and she was keeping my mind, like when the extortion never went up, and I just assumed, I thought that she wasn't part of it, and she was protecting me. Usually extortion goes up. It always gets ratcheted up from what I've heard.
What's the fear of not keeping her happy is what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I could get killed, or the people who were extorting me could come rob me. And I didn't get killed. I didn't get robbed. The extortion never went up. I thought she was really protecting me.
If that's the case, why not just, I mean, you're complying with everything they've asked you to do, right?
I'm doing everything that was asked to do, and yeah.
So why reach out and say, hey, can I get you a trip to Key West to go with that extortion money?
I never said, can I get you a trip to Key West?
You didn't say you were trying to get them the owner's cottage. Maybe it's not in Key West. Trying to get them the owner's cottage because it's the nicest, $380 a night. The postcard inn. Do you recall all those conversations?
Oh yeah, for sure. And she'd actually asked me weeks before the bump, because I had this connection at a place called the Moorings that I could get like a really great price at a really affordable price for how nice the place is. and I said I was going to make some calls and help her out and get it. And then I ended up giving her $300 for the, when she picked up that bag at my house, I put $300 in it and I got her a hotel room.
Is that a yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, I did.
And she didn't want the trip. In the text messages, she's saying, like, no thanks, and you're kind of forcing it down her throat. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because actually, it's funny, at that time, in The Wire, I was trying to see if Katie and him were together or they weren't together. So that's why I kept asking, how are things? Are you guys okay? Because if they were fighting, it was making me think more and more that the reason she was avoiding me was because she found out that he was the one who was doing the second extortion again. So I was trying to figure out if it was him and if she was lying to me.
In this case, she says, I don't want to do anything, and you say, you know what, F that, you're going there. You're going to have a good time.
For sure. I was trying to do nice things for her.
And then did you pay for a trip or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for, you're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with, and she had no money. And I remember I was in Chicago. I was at a friend's wedding, and I took out my credit card and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So is that a yes? You paid for
the trip
to
I
Santo
remember that well.
Domingo. So
For
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
Did you offer to buy Katherine Magbanua and her mom a cruise?
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Katherine Magbanua?
She was a patient of record of my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Katherine Magbanua?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah, all this stuff was making me think she was broke. So yes, you're right.
Did you offer that she could use your Range Rover anytime?
I said she could borrow the car, sure.
Did she talk about getting a boat and you offered to help her get a boat?
I never offered to help her get a boat. I offered to help her look for a boat.
Did you pay for the breast augmentation?
No,
No part of the breast augmentation.
not at all.
So when she's saying at the same time she's the day of the breast augmentation, can I just put it on the credit card? Is she referring, can I just put it on your credit card? Is she referring to something else, some other expense?
I have no idea what she's referring to, but I did not pay for her boo job.
What about this birthday gift for Sigfredo Garcia? What was the bonsai tree and the bag? What was that all about?
Oh, she had asked me, and it's on a wire. It's on 420, where she says, "Can you get me some bud from Bud?" My next door neighbor's Bud, and she asked me if I could get some marijuana from my next door neighbor for her. So that's what, when I said I have a bonsai tree for you, she asked me, and I got her a little bit of marijuana from my next door neighbor for her.
And you said, I don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best. I did my best.
I was being completely, by the way, I was being completely sarcastic. I never would get Sigfredo Garcia a present in my life.
And you thought you hit it out of the park with the weed and the gift card. Did you say that?
Well, give me a little more context.
The context is you don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best and you think you hit it out of the park.
No, I was being completely sarcastic because she had asked me for that marijuana 2 weeks earlier, and I gave it to her, and then I was joking around when I gave it to her. I didn't want him to think that I was hooking up with her, so I started to joke around about it, and then I was like, maybe you can just tell him it was for me, because I didn't want him to think that I'm hooking up with Katie, and that's why I gave it to her.
Can we agree in general that it's important to maintain positive feelings between co-conspirators? If you're a co-conspirator with someone in a crime, you want to keep positive relationship with that person. Will you agree with that?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
Okay, I'm saying in general. Can you agree in general that co-conspirators in a crime want to stay friendly with each other?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
All right, can't agree to that. If a co-conspirator develops a motive to harm another one, that could be bad, right?
If a co-conspirator, say it again.
Say a husband and wife do a murder together. And then 10 years later, they've gotten away with it, but 10 years later, they fall out. That could be a problem. Somebody might start talking, right?
I was never part of a murder.
Were these gifts, these things that you provided to Katherine Magbanua and her mother and Sigfredo Garcia payment for the murder?
Okay, I never got Sigfredo a gift in my life. The guy absolutely hates me. He wants to kill me. He stalked me. He extorted me. Like, that was being completely sarcastic, and sometimes I make some bad jokes, but that's, even when I wrote he wanted to take me deep sea fishing, I knew he wanted to kill me. Like, you have that text too. I didn't think we were going deep sea fishing.
On April 6th of 2015, did you receive a text from Katherine Magbanua that reads, "Next time, don't be such a dick to someone who has done something for you"?
Yeah, she's protecting me, and she's mad at me over something.
Are these gifts what it took to secure her silence for so long?
No, absolutely not. I was never trying to get her silence. I was hoping she'd tell the truth.
Was your dad's birthday in between the two trips that the killers took?
Yeah, my dad's birthday is July 5th.
And what birthday was that for him?
It was his 70th birthday party.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about the texting between you and your mom about the birthday, and she texts you on March 4th of 2014 and says she can't talk now, but she'll call when she goes to the bathroom in Gainesville and has privacy. She tells you to erase that text after you read it. Why did she have you erase that text?
Okay, if you look at the records, I never erased the text.
But why did she ask you? If you know, you may not know.
Maybe she's afraid my dad's looking at her phone and would find out about the present. It made no sense to me. That's why I was like, I didn't erase anything.
How is you erasing the text going to prevent your dad from seeing it on your mom's phone?
Well, if my dad looked at my mom's phone, then he'd see the text and maybe know what she's planning for his birthday.
You weren't with Dad, she was with Dad, just to clarify.
Yeah, she was with my dad.
And the text that she asked you to erase, that particular text didn't say anything about a birthday or paella. Can we agree on that?
No, not, but I knew what it was about.
Right. 20 minutes later, she texts again and asks something about Dad's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know we were trying to plan a surprise cruise. That was the original idea.
Okay, and the paella is mentioned elsewhere, not in this particular thread that we're talking about now.
Yeah, we ended
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
Okay. Then 3 months later, on June 8th, just after midnight, you text her, quote, "still working on Dad's birthday present." Was that in reference to the paella guy?
Possibly what I was also getting was a present. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I don't know exactly what I got him 10 years ago on his birthday.
And then
Or
at
what I was
1
thinking about.
a.m., I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, or what I was thinking about getting him.
And then at 1 a.m., Mom texts you back, "I know you'll," and I think she was in Israel, so that might account for the time, but she texts you, quote, "I know you'll come through for me." Is that what she said?
That's what the text said, yeah.
Can we agree the timing of these texts is consistent with being sent the day after the killers got home from their failed June murder trip?
No, it's consistent with a few weeks before my dad's birthday and trying to figure out what we're going to get him.
Why didn't you go to Dan's funeral?